Welcome to ESGR Ethics Training. This module was developed by the Office of General Counsel and covers the ethical standards that apply to you as an ESGR volunteer. Before we begin, one important note: nothing in this training constitutes legal advice. If you have a specific legal question, contact your Defense Human Resources Activity Attorney. Let's get started.
Today we'll cover three things: your responsibilities as an ESGR volunteer, how ethical rules play out through real scenarios, and where to go when questions come up. When you serve as an ESGR volunteer under 10 U.S.C. 1588, DoD treats you as a federal employee for ethics purposes. That includes compliance with the primary conflict of interest statutes in Chapter 11 of Title 18. Federal employees follow 14 ethical principles. The core idea: put government interests first, avoid conflicts, protect resources, stay fair, and never use your official role for personal gain. 4 categories require mandatory ethics training for ESGR volunteers: conflicts of interest, impartiality, misuse of position, and gifts. Everything in this training maps to one of these 4 areas. When you're unsure about an action, ask your DHRA attorney before you act, not after. Act in good faith, make full disclosure, and follow their advice. There is no attorney-client privilege, but reliance on their guidance can protect you. Scenario 1. Patty conducts employer outreach and meets weekly with a large company's representatives. They routinely treat her to breakfast. Which ethical category does this raise, and is it permissible? A gift is any item of monetary value, including food, entertainment, discounts, or gratuities. The general rule permits unsolicited gifts of $20 or less per occasion, not exceeding $50 from the same source per year. Cash and cash equivalents are never permitted. Widely attended gatherings add complexity and require ethics guidance. Not everything is a gift. Public discounts, greeting cards of little value, and modest refreshments like coffee are generally fine. But remember, perception can be reality. If it looks improper, think twice, even if it technically clears the rules. Exceptions include unsolicited gifts of $20 or less, gifts from genuine personal relationships, social invitations from non-prohibited sources, and certain foreign government gifts. The exceptions are narrow. When unsure, ask. Scenario 2. Patty meets regularly with a large company in her ESGR role. Does that ongoing relationship create a conflict of interest or impartiality concern, particularly if she has a private business connection with that organization? Scenario 3. Patty's regular outreach involves meeting weekly with leadership from various businesses. The question isn't whether she can do outreach, she can. The question is whether any of those relationships create a conflict with her personal or professional interests. Scenario 4. Richard is an ESGR ombudsman. A coworker asks him to mediate a case involving their shared employer and another colleague in the National Guard. Can Richard fairly mediate a dispute involving his own employer? The impartiality rule prohibits taking official actions that affect entities you have a covered relationship with. That includes your employer, household members, close relatives, organizations you have a financial stake in, and entities where you recently served or are pursuing employment. Richard must recuse himself and document why. Scenario 5. A representative from Computer. Com wants to build a relationship with California ESGR. He invites several volunteers to a golf tournament at the company's expense. What ethics categories does this implicate? Scenario 6. Antonio hands out his ESGR business cards during private sector sales calls and tells clients they can reach him through that contact information. Using your official ESGR identity to support private business is misuse of position. Keep the roles separate. Scenario 7. Nina is on the board of a nonprofit animal shelter. During an ESGR mediation, someone mentions animal shelters, and Nina explains how to donate to hers. The context is the problem. She is in her official ESGR capacity. Promoting a personal nonprofit in that setting is misuse of position. Scenario 8. Oscar is an ESGR state chair raising funds for his son's Little League team. He offers his volunteers an opportunity to donate. Using your official authority to solicit personal fundraising is misuse of position, regardless of the cause. Scenario 9. Janelle, an ESGR volunteer, arranges a meeting with a government contractor's CEO using her ESGR access, then expresses interest in employment. That is misuse of position. ESGR access is for the mission, not personal career networking. Scenario 10. A sitting U.S. Senator up for re-election asks to attend an ESGR employer recognition event. This raises political activity restrictions. Let's look at what those rules require. Political activity includes anything directed at the success or failure of a party, partisan candidate, or partisan group. You may petition Congress in a personal capacity, but always introduce yourself as speaking personally, not on behalf of ESGR, DoD, or the U.S. government. You may not engage in partisan political activity while in your ESGR volunteer status or while wearing the ESGR logo. You also may not use your official title or position when engaging in partisan political activities, even off-duty. Scenario 11. Trisha says at a Patriot Awards ceremony, "Congrats to Coca-Cola on being a Freedom Award finalist. They're exemplary in supporting Guard and Reserve members." Is that permissible? Recognizing employer support of service members falls within the ESGR mission. Scenario 12, Trisha adds, "They also provide a fantastic product." That addition is the problem. Federal employees may not use their official capacity to endorse commercial products. Recognizing employer support is fine. Product endorsements are not. You may speak at a non-federal entity event in your official capacity if you're not compensated and your remarks reflect government policy. You must not use your official title to imply endorsement of the organization, its products, or its activities. In your official capacity, you may not promote or present an NFE fundraiser, serve as honorary chair, sit at the head table, stand in a reception line, or let an NFE use the ESGR or DoD name on its materials. You may give an official speech at a nonprofit event as long as you do not solicit donations or endorse the organization. Scenario 13. Samantha has a private business relationship with a company. She recommends that company sign a statement of support for ESGR. Does her business relationship create a conflict of interest or impartiality concern when she makes that recommendation? Scenario 14. Samantha recommends the same company with whom she has a business relationship for a Patriot Award. That is a direct impartiality violation. Even if the company deserves recognition, Samantha's conflict requires her to step back. Scenario 15. Greg places his organization's corporate logo on ESGR materials so people will remember him. ESGR materials exist for the mission. Using them to promote a private organization is misuse of position. ESGR 1250.40 governs SGR logo use. Both the ESGR and DoD logos are trademarked. HQ ESGR must approve any use by any organization, business, or individual, including volunteers. There are no exceptions. Scenario 16. Tamara, an ESGR representative, shares personal recommendations on defense authorization legislation during a conversation with a state legislator. Political and lobbying activity restrictions apply. If sharing personal views, she must clearly state she is not speaking for ESGR. Scenario 17. Alexis is setting up a volunteer recruitment booth and asks about electricity access, learning there is a charge. The question here is what the proper process is for incurring costs in the course of official ESGR volunteer activities. Non-public information includes classified material, internal DoD deliberative records, Privacy Act protected files, budget data, confidential procurement information, and anything not already publicly available. You may not use non-public information for personal teaching, speaking, or writing. Public speaking can be a valuable way to share what ESGR does. Never disclose specifics of mediation cases. Doing so likely violates the Administrative Dispute Resolution Act. Focus on big-picture lessons. Seek guidance before accepting compensation for speaking or writing about matters you participated in personally. If you are looking for private sector employment, do not use your ESGR volunteer role to represent yourself to potential employers for personal gain. ESGR access is for the mission. Keep your job search completely separate. Ethics violations can result in dismissal, disciplinary action, and criminal prosecution. The best protection is simple. Ask your DHRA attorney before you act. Document that you sought guidance and followed it. 2 resources to save. The Office of Government Ethics at www.oge.gov and the OSD Standards of Conduct Office at .soco, OGC OSD Samil. Use them. That's what they're there for. That covers today's content. You've reviewed volunteer responsibilities, worked through real scenarios in all 4 mandatory ethics categories, and identified your resources. Please continue to the post-course quiz on the slides that follow. Thank you for completing ESGR ethics training. The references on this slide are available for your use. If anything from today raises a question about your own situation, contact your DHRA attorney or HQ ESGR regional representative before you act.